I'd like to call to order the Bucksburg Town Council meeting for July 12, 2018. Roll call, please, Kathy.
Mark Eastman.
Here.
Paul Rad.
Here.
David Key.
Here.
David Keane.
Here.
Peter Stewart.
Here.
Paul Garvin.
Here.
Robert Carmichael.
Here.
Okay, item 3, we assume he's coming. Not
Said
sure.
he called this afternoon,
Okay.
he said he was coming.
Okay, we'll skip that. We'll go on to item 4, consider minutes of previous meetings. We have minutes from June 14th and June 28th.
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes for June 14th and June 28th of 2018. Anything further from the council? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Item 5, receive and review correspondence and documents. I don't believe we have anything. Item 6 is ordinance to be considered or introduced. We have the first reading of Chapter 12, Traffic and Safety. Peter?
Nope, that would be me now.
Paul?
And actually, we've got a little bit to talk about Chapter 12, 13, and 5, and Jeff agreed to hang around to chat about those. If you could,
This is just the introduction of 12.
Yes.
The next ones are coming.
So this is a first reading of a proposed change to Chapter 12, Traffic and Safety, that the Regulatory Review Committee reviewed earlier this evening and is recommending that you consider adopting this. And I have just some visual aids to show you what's being proposed in Chapter 12. There are two separate issues that are being addressed. The first one deals with parking in the town office parking lot, which is right next to this building, obviously. And the reason for the proposed change is to allow the owner of the former chamber property to have 2 spaces to park their vehicles in, or tenants who may occupy the building. Currently, however, the town office parking lot, overnight parking is prohibited. So the change makes an exception. Overnight parking is prohibited except in designated areas. And those designated areas will be identified somewhere in the parking lot by signage. The second change is, because of the first change, this is an opportunity to address a long-standing conflict between a sign on our waterfront that says no bicycles, skateboards, roller skates, and scooters are allowed. However, Chapter 12 says no person shall operate a skateboard, roller skates, or inline skates. Doesn't mention scooter. So scooter being added. The sign also refers to bicycles. Bicycles, however, are addressed in a different section of Chapter 12 down here. I highlighted it to show you, no person shall ride or propel a pedal vehicle on any portion of the town's riverfront walkway. And I just put the definitions here in case anybody questions what a pedal vehicle is. It's in fact a bicycle, tricycle, or a quad cycle. So those are the proposed changes, and this is the first reading. You will have your second reading, I presume, at the next meeting. Any questions?
no, thank you, Jeff.
Any questions from the public? If not, we're going to go back to item 3. Presentations of any town councils, recognitions, or any presentations. Mr. Campbell?
Hi, my name is Dick Campbell. Guess I play 2 roles. One as your representative to the House of Representatives, so offer to answer any questions you might have about that. It would be fairly extensive. And as the designated developer chosen by the council to take a look at Wilson Hall. So, any questions of the first before I approach and hand something out?
Probably been busy.
Is the
Not
legislature
busy
closed?
now.
You still in session?
Unfortunately, maybe it will conclude on the 23rd, maybe not. So, we're at the end of the extension that you provided, and we're at a point where we have had some significant changes in our pursuit. And one of them is a person who I've been working with for many years. I met her as the person who marketed the MB&A property in Camden. It was a big office complex that we turned into 30 units of condominiums. She grew up in Camden. Her name is Amy McClellan, and she's actually been to town with interest some time ago. She took a look at the 22, was it Cozy View, Main Street down here, and we decided against it because of the building itself. And I see that's vacant again. So, but the intrigue was the river, your waterfront development, and it just didn't seem to fit at that time. Since then, she has pulled together a marketing plan, developed, and has filled a 44-bed nursing home in Brunswick, one block off of Main Street, and turned it into 18 units of living in place, 55-plus boutique, aging in place concept that we spoke somewhat about earlier for Wilson Hall. But she is now got excitement, enthusiasm, and renewed interest in Bucksport because of all the hard work that you've done. And the activity on Main Street, the town, which I boast in the legislature of representing as the growingest town in the state. I'll just read the first paragraph, and then don't want to bore you with the rest of it, but poised at the top of the hill overlooking the Penobscot River with the south sun beaming through its windows, one can taste the sea air from the head of the Penobscot Bay and smell the sounds of the neighborhoods below while gazing from the gardens at the Wilson, Bucksport, Maine. The McClellan has that name because that's her family name, and the Wilson seemed to fit her model, so that's her vision of what it could become. The Wilson will be a 55-plus boutique senior living experience. We'll offer 10 to 18 high-end senior residences with the opportunity for additional services, amenities, and age-in-place care in a unique setting, all designed with one intention: that that as we age, we deserve to not just live, but to live better. And it goes on to talk a little bit more about the assets and the team that you know at least half of and now being introduced to. At the bottom of the page right, we have a photo of her, but more importantly, the website that she has for the McClellan in Brunswick. She's been asked, while developing this McClellan, to look at different communities. She was asked to come to Castine to help that group put together a similar situation. So she's looking at that. We've recently been asked to go up to Old Town. I guess they've just recently let out an RFP for the Jefferson School, which is a 28,000 square foot turn of the century brick building on 3 acres. And her plan is to take what she's learned at the McClellan and take it around to different communities. She's really excited about Bucksport. It's quite a challenge. The nursing home was operating in October when she closed in December, so the building was viable. She went into the building and completely addressed the interior spaces and came up with apartments. So these are people's homes. This one is more like the project I did in Bass Harbor, where the interior framing is pretty tough. And we've since found that probably the thing to do is to take out the interior structure except for specific structural members, horizontal, vertical, and put in all new structural steel stud and joist systems. In this project, I happen to have a copy of that here. I'll just send that around, but you can see where the sardine factory was 2 stories, and it became 3, because we were able to take the elevation, which is about 25 feet, and make 3. Pass that around. Make 3 different levels.
Bass
One-
Harbor, that's the one that's right out in the water.
Yeah, it's the Underwood factory.
Right.
And that was kind of a unique project. We wanted to rebuild the factory, but we didn't have enough land. We owned enough land, but it was divided by the Swans Island Ferry Road, which was owned by the property owner, but it had an easement, so couldn't put the number of units in it. We also went up in the back and put 5 duplexes, and then came back and put 8 units in the factory. So, I've been involved with brick buildings. I think I talked about that when Don and Larry and I first looked at Wilson Hall, and it was in tougher shape than Wilson Hall's exterior. The interior wasn't quite as bad. So we're getting to a point where we pulled together the team that can make it happen. Like I mentioned earlier, the financing and the construction doesn't seem to be the biggest piece. In general, it is. It's the operations piece. So that's where Ms. McClellan can come in and make that happen. She's pretty vibrant. Some of you met her. And once she gets her mind into a community, she really gets into it. She's seeking I think a temporary apartment to come and live in town to see what the town's all about. She does have a bit of a limitation. She is looking at 2 projects, not 3. And Wilson Hall, or the Wilson, is one on our highest priorities. She looks at communities. Brunswick South is sort of the mecca of aging in place, senior living, and also obviously higher income. So the market seems to fit any improvements you put in, and she filled it with well before she closed on her construction financing. Their thought was to put 6 tenants in, have 6 signed, but in fact before she closed she had it full. So it's interesting. She's quite a lady. So, and at this point, I'll answer any questions that might come from her new
Well, I guess
appearance.
now that you have the, I guess we would call it the infrastructure, or I guess that, or the what's going to go in the building.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when is the building?
I'm sorry. When?
It's like we got. Yeah, well,
Oh.
it's like we have what's going inside the building,
Yeah.
but we don't have the building. So that's what I mean. When? So. Like, or that's what I mean.
Oh, when do we start building?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're still in.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, we'd like to, but
Okay.
we've got some answers in terms of marketing to get to how much can the community stand. We believe it can stand an upper level, elegant component to that building because of its location. The Bangor, Belfast, Ellsworth location that you capitalized on. And her interest is to make this a destination where you've got the wonderful downtown, and it's right in the middle of everything. So there isn't that at this point, but we have to put the business model together. We have to find out how much debt service it can support. But at least we have the concept going. To answer that, it'll be a while. These projects take quite a while, but we do have financing with interest at this point. We just need to research the market.
So one of the biggest questions that's going on in the building is falling in around itself.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any plan to start to at least shore it up so it's not gonna fall in, while you're waiting for this?
Jeff and the town has done a pretty good job of that. It's not falling. It is tilting, but it's been stabilized, so we're not concerned about that before we can get this together. Not concerned at all.
How much more time do you need for us?
Well, we talked about 3 more months on the extensions. I believe we can get to the final answer by then.
Now, Dick, you said she was contemplating 2 projects, but was looking at 3. Is that correct?
Looking at 3, but willing to put 2 together.
And is she committed to this?
That's my question.
This is the most important to her. Old Town is fairly new, looking good. Castine she's been working on, don't know. But it is important to have 2. In terms of a smaller facility like this, with the 10 to 18 units, you really need critical mass.
Mm-hmm.
And Old Town, Castine, Bucksport isn't that far away from each other and can draw and support one another. So, no, she's looking at 2.
And what can you name the institution that's committed to financing?
We have 2. She had Norway Savings finance this, the McClellan. They probably wouldn't be involved. She's just refinanced, and most of the financing goes out of state.
Mm-hmm.
She's refinancing now with an Omaha institution. And we're looking at 2 in Atlanta to do it.
So we're still trying to secure
yeah,
financing?
they've had very much interest. They've expressed interest, and they'd be willing to offer the names, but at this point, maybe the next time we get together, I can do that. Or early, if you'd like to have it before, I'll get you the names.
So is there Jeff's been involved, right? So we're certain right now that the building is stable and can withstand another winter?
Yeah, I'm not sure about another winter. I'm talking the next 3 months.
And so we're looking at this getting going within the next 3 months, or at least
Soon after,
secure.
before winter. Before winter. Or not. If you're so inclined that we not pursue it any farther, then
I'm looking at the McClellan, and they're talking, in their price range. I mean, to me, that would be something that would be attractive to have a place like this. I mean, the numbers that they're talking about, and then monthly rents for what they offer. And I assume the Wilson would offer similar amenities.
similar. We're not sure that it can support that level.
Right.
But a
I
little
understand.
bit less.
Right.
Yep. We're not sure that it can support the 29 to 39 to 4,300 a month.
Right. And that's understandable, but I absolutely believe that there is a market for that.
Oh, can we vote you?
Yes.
Good.
Absolutely. Yeah,
That would be tremendous.
We short sell ourselves so much on what we should be marketing to. I mean,
Yep.
you hear it all the time down in Augusta. We are the oldest state in the nation,
Yeah.
but yet we have so much to offer. And when we have what we have here in the town to
That's
offer, I
right.
mean, geez, it's a selling point that we ought to be trying to take advantage of.
And that's why her interest has been rekindled, because of what you people have done, and what's happened in the town. And she definitely believes, if that's the case, then, yeah, it's a go. We suspect it's a little bit less.
The price point that they have there, again, this other Maine, and there's a
Yeah.
bigger draw of different, but again, I think we have the possibility to have that same type of draw here.
Yeah, we do too. Well, especially in the town with the character of the building, its location, the pinnacle, even the cemetery. The history of the building, with the Civil War gathering, troops gathering on the front lawn. There's a lot to be capitalized on here. And in terms of we're looking at 10 to 18, 10 in the building, all self-contained units, 1 bedroom, kitchen.
And most of these are 600 to 800 square feet type of thing, so they're
Yep.
apartments that can handle a couple or.
Yeah, yeah. And we're also looking at 2 bedroom rooftops. And then So the project cost is somewhere between 1.2 to 2 million. 2 million, we put an addition on the back with six more units, larger units, and two sort of down below at the lowest level walkout with gardens and common space above that looks out over the river.
And where are you looking in Castine? Is there buildings down there that they're?
No, we looked
Okay,
at 3 buildings, and the group lost the opportunity for one of them, which was right next to, well, back through the trees, the hospital or the clinic.
Okay.
So that was a good location. It was an older building, and probably the rehab would have been a little tough. So that would have been the community space, and then build the units in the back. It had good land in the back. Beyond that, they've asked her to come back, and she's a little reluctant to take on more than this and Old Town because it seems to fit better, brick building, significant in town, town owns it, so the cost of the purchase is less.
Right.
And all the money can go into the infrastructure and the services.
Has there been any other interest expressed in somebody else getting involved in this, to the knowledge of the town manager or Jeff? Any inquiries that, I mean, you sort of have an exclusive situation now, and you're asking that we extend that for another 3 months? Is that where we are?
And that was in the agreement, yeah. Possibility. But I totally understand if you're not interested.
Well, for one, we don't have people beating down the doors to come do something with it. You come and plans change, you look at one thing and it didn't work, you haven't just given up on that. You've gone back and tried to do something else. I appreciate that. And I think as a town, we ought to appreciate that you're trying to do something and not just giving up on it. We have folks that sound like they're interested in coming here to do something. Put some, I think what there is a need. I have no problem giving you 3 months to go forward with it.
The way I look at it too is that, putting projects together like this take a long time. I mean, even the project that's being proposed at the mill site, you just don't do that overnight. And this is the first solid opportunity I think we've had of actually refurbishing that building. I mean, the building was this close to getting torn down. And, I think this is a good opportunity. In another 90 days, I don't see it's going to cause any big issue. I think it gives you an opportunity to put things together and possibly get started before snow flies.
I guess what I actually agree with them both. I guess what I like, you actually came with someone that does this. I look at her website and I look at that. 10 more years, I could. Yeah, it's nice. It's something that we really don't have here. No one's beating our door. Had you not came with her, I would have been against it, the extension. But I look with this. I look like it is moving forward, and you're not giving up on it or just trying to prolong it with us. I really think you are moving forward with it.
And a lot of times development breeds development.
Right.
You start one,
Sure.
and all of a sudden, an empty building here on Main Street may turn into, spark somebody's interest to do something with it, another building someplace else. 90 days is.
I think you're moving
Drop
forward.
the ball.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think going all the way back to when Don and Larry and I said, gee, this is a brick building and this can be saved. And I think that's where my passion generated from and lies, keeping that building.
We were one vote away from tearing it down, and I think you're seeing now that there's an idea to at least
Give you a shot.
get you to do something with it.
Well, I appreciate, but I also understand that, if you're tired of me, tired of me.
Well,
I'm Go ahead.
I'd feel probably a little better if she were here too to answer the questions
Mhm.
and see her commitment. You know, you can kind of read maybe a little bit of what her commitment really is to this. And there's nothing right now that I've heard that says she's in. She's possibly in. She's
Mhm.
excited, but
Yep.
still a lot ifs. But on the other hand, what we've heard for options are possible grants and things like that that could happen or could not happen to help save it. And what I'm also hearing is that it's shored up at least for, yeah, I don't know. So I'm skeptical, to be honest with you, until we see some dirt move or something.
May I proceed? Maybe share the video that she has created for the Wilson.
Oh, sure. I didn't
There's
realize
also a
that.
video for the Wilson that Amy created that might help you see her interest.
Is there a website for it?
It's is it Dick? Is it YouTube or is it Vimeo? I believe it's on YouTube and it's called The Wilson. If you can't find it, I can email it to you. I have the video.
You think it's on YouTube called The Wilson?
Yeah, the name of the property is called The Wilson. And if you don't have it there, I will email it.
Don't be hitting buttons over there, all right, Paul? You want to bring up something.
What it is she came to Bucksport and did a sort of a, not just looking at Wilson Hall, but the community itself, and did a short video that she called the Wilson, and sort of tied it all together, and has indicated that she will be staying here for several days a week for the next month or two to get more acclimated.
It's called My Early Vision of the Wilson, May 30th, 2018.
That would be it.
And that's a result of her just spending time in town and using her phone to take pictures. And she sort of put her thoughts together, especially with the impression she had from the Main Street project. Now, with everything that's been happening in a visit through the Wilson Hall.
When we met with her and toured Wilson Hall,
Mhm.
she was here 3 years ago looking at possibly another building, and her impression of the town was kind of lukewarm at best. And what she's seen happen over the last 3 years here has really changed her opinion. And she's very enthusiastic, I'll tell you that. And when she gets committed to something, I think she's going to be committed. But she really likes where the town's going. I think that was one of the biggest attractions.
It's kind of funny because she lived in Brunswick. She owned a 3-unit, and she was a full-time nurse and had 3 jobs, one at Mid-Coast and 2 full-time jobs, one at Maine Med and Central Maine. And she just walked by this building and said, I really think it's critical care and cardiac care. So she had patients come in and say, just don't. Some of them would say, don't send me back to that place. And her vision was, she walked by the building and went into the nurse's station and said, is the owner here? Obviously not. And said, I want to buy the building. And soon after, it was empty and there was a for sale sign. So that was her pursuit. She spent almost a year doing the business plan with CEI. New business owner, woman-owned, and did a bang-up job and got to a point where she offered it to, I think it was 4 banks and 2 letters of interest.
I mean, that's what I'd like to see as a letter of interest. I mean, I think we need to know how it's going to be paid for,
From Ms. McClellan, you mean?
from anybody.
There's no local financial institution.
It could be, but she hasn't had good luck with local. They don't seem to understand it. And it's interesting. I've had banking experiences over the years, but never really had a banking partner to say, okay, this is, no, don't do this, try this, what if you did that? And it was just, here's an extensive business plan, yes, no, or whatever. And it happened, 2 were interested. And that's the result of the business plan that we don't have at this point. But we do have some interest because she's refinancing the one in Brunswick, so they're interested in doing more. And I have some development interest out of Atlanta that are looking for projects like this.
So, if we gave you an extension, would you be able to have that by October?
Yeah, we very much hope to, yes. Yep. Or if we can't, if we don't find that there's the interest that we all hope there is and think there is, then we'll let you know before then.
My concern is reading these new numbers, seems like things have changed a bit. And my concern is the demographic. If you're looking at 10 to 18 units for 55 and older, and you're looking at, from what I just heard, I thought I heard you say 1.2 to $2 million
Right.
for only 10 to 18. You know, if it ends up at the minimum, that's so. I guess I'm from a. I agree with Mark. I'd like to, Councilor Eastman, I'd like to have some sort of a letter of interest or no-go, no-go decision. There are other, I think there are things lurking out there right now, and I mean in a positive way, with one salmon place coming along down the road. I foresee support companies or who knows what will follow them through here. We received an email outlining several sources of grant funding to go after. That doesn't happen overnight either. There are time periods to apply for that. So I'm that's all clicking around in my head is what I'm trying to say.
That's good.
And I think at the end of the 3 months, I'd really be some sort of letter of interest, letter of intent, no, yes or no.
Yeah, I can get you 3 letters of interest right now, but it's not based on much.
Yeah.
Except her relationship with the institution and my relationship.
Yeah.
And it's not based on what we really need is the market.
Yeah. Oh no, I
Business plan yet with cash flow projections and.
We're working on those. That's what we need. Now that we need to read. We've come and gone on upscale markets, but that kind of goes against our agreement. Our thought was to do boutique aging in place, and that was before she showed renewed interest. But now we're still back on the same request of you with the same concept. We weren't getting it for just upscale. The numbers weren't working. Going back to the 1.2 to 2, it could be in 3 phases. The building is the 1.2. There's an addition with 3 levels of 6, as I mentioned earlier, showed earlier, and then we just added 2 ground level walkouts with.
So that design, I remember you present that design as
Yeah, it could
still,
be phased.
Yeah.
But we've gone from 4 residents per unit apartment with their own bedrooms and really expensive care to apartments with good services that all of us could enjoy.
Our original agreement was, 6 months, and then with 2 possible
Increase.
extensions.
5 months.
Was it 5 months?
Yeah, 5, that's right. We had
5 months with the 2 possible extensions?
Yeah, the original
And,
was 6, but I think you had interest in 5.
Well, that was because we were talking about a grant cycle. That's right.
Yeah, we were looking at. I remember
And
there
that's-
was a grant cycle involved.
And I think that's back around in November.
That was the main one.
At the steeple.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to grant the extension to Mr. Campbell.
We have a motion and seconded to grant the extension for another 30 days to Mr. Campbell.
90 days.
90
90
days,
days.
excuse me. Corrected, okay. Anything further from the public on this? From the council?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I'm not for throwing any more money at Wilson Hall, first off. And secondly, if we come down to the end of the 90 days and we need X amount to further make it ready for the next winter. I think that maybe to show her good faith at anything, that might come from the McClellan side rather than the town side. So I'd like to pass that along and talk about that. I'm just not for putting any more money into it. Not that you're asking for money right now, I understand that. But 3 months down the road, winter coming, geez, we need another $20,000 or $30,000. That wouldn't get my vote.
Okay, all those in favor of the extension? Opposed? Motion passes.
Thanks, Dick.
Passed, right? I didn't see
Yes.
dates.
Thank you.
No, I know, so yes.
Okay, going on to discussion items, I think we just had the discussion item about Wilson Hall. So, Regulatory Review Committee update.
Yes, I'll take that one. Going back, we at times had a passionate discussion. We were this evening, and we were talking about Chapter 13, and most of the emphasis was on Section 8, which in the end, with a lot of public input, it was decided that we would remove that section. So that's a quick one. Jeff, you have, or Jeff or Sue, anything further to?
Just to let the full council know that the formerly named ordinance committee has reviewed and made a recommendation for adoption of a revised Chapter 5 of the Town Code, which currently is called Building Standards and Property Maintenance Ordinance. The new name will be called Building Codes and Standards, and it will deal just with what the name says, Building Codes and Standards. The property maintenance section has been removed from Chapter 5 and moved to new Chapter 13, which is what the Regulatory Review Committee just wrapped up reviewing this evening. So both the proposed revision to Chapter 5 and the new Chapter 13 will be presented to the Town Council, I think, at the next meeting for the first reading of both together. They both really need to be reviewed and acted on together.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Paul, on that? Okay, we'll go on to item C, Finance Committee update. Is that you, Peter?
Robbie.
Robbie.
Oh, that's finance? Oh, no, that was infrastructure.
Oh, finance is David, that's right.
Finance is David.
They're with us.
Yes. What did we decide? Oh, there's my notes, okay. Discussion of PSD.
Oh, that was to adjourn. The non-municipal funding
Yes.
policy. Would you like me to
Yes, in
report on
regard to agencies coming in and asking for money. They're going to be looking for more details on that and what exactly it is that they propose. In other words, they'll have to identify their needs and so on and so forth before we. And probably one of the things we're going to be looking at is a specific amount out of the budget and then how it's to be distributed to people that are coming in. And absolutely that if anybody wants money, they need to come in and support their contention. Is there anything else?
They asked for the last 10 years of distribution and some looking at either percentage of mill rate or percentage of total budget being a cap number that is for the overall appropriation with an individual cap or not to exceed amount for any single request. And that, the next meeting, they want to look at some of those numbers.
Okay. Item D, Infrastructure and Property Committee meeting. Who's got that one
We
now?
looked at items. We looked at an offer to purchase a lot out on Route 46, Lot 28, map 52. And there's a lot of background, we went over on it, but essentially the offer was $600. We determined that that lot probably is best to be back on the tax rolls for that price and for their use, which is very little use other than to, I guess, protect the area in front of their property, but bottom line is that we voted to recommend they be allowed to purchase it for $600. Mark and Rosemary Bamford.
How big a lot was it?
It's approximately 100 by 250.
Unbuildable.
The second part of this was Public Works truck and plow purchases. We approved, or recommended the approval to the council of a new 2,500 pickup and a 5,500 dump truck. The dump truck purchase price $51,500, and the pickup $29,800. One is the 2016, 2018 pickup. We discussed, it's brand new, 2016, it's a holdover, full warranty, NADA value of $55,097. And then the attachments with that would approve Connor GMC's bid for a total of $16,625, which is 2 Sanders and a plow. That was the end of our meeting.
Goes along on here.
That's coming, going to be in the next meeting.
Okay.
Correction, 2 plows and a sander.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're going to go on to agenda items. Okay. First one being to approve resolve R 2019-01 to purchase an outboard motor for the fire department.
Our fire chief is here. We have the bid information that's in the packet. Craig had some additional information on another engine that was not the same type as the other ones that were bid. The information on it is in the packet. It was from Branch Pond, and it was for a different brand that nobody was familiar with and didn't have. He can explain it.
Real quick, reason we weren't here last meeting, we were getting different types of quotes that didn't include everything that we really needed. The boat that we're talking about is the one that was donated to the town. We purchased it with a donation of another boat. It's about 30 years old, and the current motor on it is a Yamaha. We called like 7 or 8 different places for quotes. The 4 that are listed out are all the same exact motor, it's a Yamaha. One from Branch Pond is an Alga motor, which I talked to Mike Ormsby and 15 or 20 different motors, and nobody had ever heard of it. We did do some research online. It's a Mercury motor that they now produce the 20 to 40 horse motor in China. Of course, I think the Yamaha is still Japan. But we can't find anyone around that has one or has seen one or has heard of an Alga. It was a few $100s less, but my money, I think I'd go with a little bit on the Yamaha. So.
You're on the 4-stroke?
Yeah.
No, that's an all gas.
Yeah.
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the resolve 2019-01, purchase an outboard motor for the fire department. Anything further from the public? From the council? So is the other motor being thrown away?
We're going to try to find somebody that might take it for parts. I'm going to talk to the low bidder and see if they're interested in doing some sort of trade when I get there with it. From the outside, it's always been stored inside, and it looks brand new. You put it on the floor, somebody would take it in a hurry until they found out it dies after about.
Do you get those
3
bids
years,
in
yeah.
writing, Chief?
Yeah, quotes
Yeah,
are all
okay.
included.
Yes, they're all attached.
So we're hoping that we can get some sort of allowance for it once they look at it. It's got a cracked housing engine block, so it's
Where is this Huff Forest Products?
just outside of Pittsfield, I think.
Have you done work with them before?
No, but they are a regular Yamaha dealer, and they carry all sorts of outdoor products.
Existing stock?
Yep.
Now, all of these are Yamahas, right?
All the same motor. All
Okay.
4 of the Yamahas with the same type.
Can you get maintenance on this done at some of these other facilities, maybe? Okay.
What happened in your quote?
We didn't ask for them.
Okay.
We had an issue a couple of years ago, and we didn't include them.
We got 4, that's, meets the requirement. Okay, we have a motion and seconded. All those in favor? Opposed, motion passes.
Thank you.
Item B, to approve Resolve 2019-02 to purchase a 2016 5500 dump truck from Quirk to be financed over 2 years.
Second?
We have a motion and second to approve the resolve. Anything further from the public? From the council? Highway Department have anything to say about this, or
Let's go
It-
with the,
is it replacing an existing truck? And that's gonna go out to bid, I assume, or something, or? you go-
that's gonna be shuffled down.
Okay, okay. Okay, we have the motion and seconded. No further questions. All those in favor? Motion passes. Item C, to approve Resolve R 2019-03 to purchase 2018 Dodge Ram 2500 pickup truck from Quirk to be financed over 2 years.
Second?
We have motion and second to approve the resolve. Anything further from the public? From the council? Finance Committee is recommending this. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Item D, to approve Resolve R 2019-04 to purchase 2 plows and 1 sander from O'Connor GMC of Augusta to be paid for from the Highway Equipment Reserve account. How would the council like to proceed?
Motion approved. Second?
We have a motion and second to approve the resolve.
One question, you mentioned the steel price change on this, do you have, and the number is in the resolve, so if you can give me what that number
It's
is.
gonna be $271.52 more.
More?
We'll work on that.
One
They should be able to
six.
eat that.
1689652. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that 116,896.52? The amount was in the resolve. I just
Okay.
need to be able to change that if it include that.
Okay. Anything further from the public? From the council? Do you gentlemen have anything to add on any of those? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Item 9, resignations, appointments, or assignments. I don't believe we have anything.
We do have one resignation. The police officer. Oh, God, this is Knight. I am so embarrassed. Ryan Knight has, his last shift is the 22nd of this month. He will have been here 1 week shy of 20 years.
1 month shy of 20?
Yes. This is his,
Will there be some type of recognition for his 19 years and
I'm not sure
360
what the-
days?
Now, you have to get 20 years to get recognition.
I'm not sure what the police department has planned, but I'm sure that they will
Okay.
be. He
We
may
try to
still
get him-
continue to work for us as a reserve as needed as well. He does other
It'd be
things.
nice if we could get him for the next council meeting, just to thank him for
Yep,
his 20 years, almost.
we'll do that.
That's 20 years.
Yeah. Okay, item 10, approve quick claims or discharge of deeds. I don't believe we have any. Item 11 is town manager's report.
In order to solve the problem for people who own property here but who are not year-round residents here, I have ordered different colored transfer station decals. These will be distributed to those property owners because right now we require those property owners to have a piece of paper that they have to produce every time they go to the transfer station, and it causes unhappiness on everybody's part when they have to find the piece of paper and produce it every time. And if we simply have a different color sticker on their vehicle, the vehicle's not registered here, which is the reason they don't get the normal color one. But it denotes that they have a legal right to use the transfer station, and that nobody has to ask anybody for anything. The decal is there, they can come in. And there have been a number of requests from people to come up with some alternative, and this is my alternative, and the stickers are ordered and they'll be here by Wednesday, and we'll be distributing them as people come with their stickers. I think it will help to it's a small thing, but it's something that has created agitation for a long time. So if there's a different way to do this, we can. And the other thing that I said is that property owners we won't be affixing stickers to cars. We will be cutting them and handing them to people so that they can put them in the back window, or they can put them on a piece of cardboard and put it on the dash, so that if they're not people who want to have a sticker stuck to their vehicle.
That's changing
That's changing.
in the last week.
It's changing.
Okay.
The memo went out this week. The memo went out. So that's some changes at the transfer station. A reminder that the Bay Festival kicks off next Friday, July 20th, and a full slate of activities is planned for the weekend. There's a lot of activities for people of all ages, and we encourage everyone to participate. Last night's Wednesday on Main was another very successful evening with Mainly Country for music. We look forward to next Wednesday's entertainment in the same location, but this next week it's going to feature jazz, bring a lawn chair, and enjoy some great music in a truly beautiful location. There were more than 100 people at the Wednesday on Main last night. You have in your manager's report an update from the executive director of Main Street Bucksport outlining their activities. We are now just a month away from the first two-day Bucksport Arts Festival, but they also have closed the applications for the third International Maritime Film Festival, and they have had 23 films submitted for that. They're in the planning process for a speaker series featuring Bucksport High School grads who live locally and around the country. Kids on Main has had over 400 participants in the past 3 Saturday mornings. That event is made possible with support from Literacy Volunteers of Maine, Darlings, and Walls Dairy Port, plus all the many volunteers who read to the children. They've started at $10 on the 10th program for encouraging people to spend $10 at a local business on the 10th of each month. They're undertaking a strategic plan that ties their goals to the comp plan and the adapt plan. So they've been very active. This weekend is the Fort Knox Pirate Parlay, and the pirate ship will be departing the Bucksport Town Dock for cruises and cannon firing over the course of the weekend. There's a cost of $25 for an hour cruise. There are many activities related to that event happening at the fort as well. Finally, the auditors will be here next week to do the town's audit starting on Monday. I anticipate they'll be here for 3 days.
Sure you'll pass with flying colors.
I'm sure we will.
Okay, item 12 is set public.
Mr. Mayor, I want to comment on the manager's report, if I might, one particular piece of it that I found to be very impressive in the next to last paragraph that says, and I'm also impressed with, as suggested, that Brooke and others are giving a pretty detailed outline of what they've been up to. And I appreciate that that comes before the council. But she says, Bucksport High School grads living locally and around the country who are engaged in innovative and creative work. 2 groups of 3 alums each will give talks at the high school during the day and give the public presentations in the evening. I think that's pretty impressive, because I grew up in a town, very small town, with thought that the world stopped and ended there, I guess, and it's good. I think this is really a good thing to have students come back who've made it and done innovative things in Bucksport as well as outside of Bucksport. I just wanted to congratulate Main Street on their part in that. Thank you.
Does she have a list of who those are?
I think Melissa was working on it.
Nice.
Along with that,
That's very good.
Appreciate Nick's report to us on the why thing as well. So both of those reports go a long way in my mind, of helping us understand great things that everybody's doing.
Okay.
I should have, I apologize, I should have included Nick's report in the packet as well.
Okay, item 12, set public hearings. Do we have any? I don't believe we do. Hold public hearings or approve any licenses or permits. We do have some licenses here. Miscellaneous license, Brooke Minner, doing business as Kids on Main. How would the council like to proceed?
Second, sorry.
Okay. We have motion and second to approve the miscellaneous license for Bucksport Main Street, Kids on Main. Anything from the public? From the council? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Next one being liquor license renewals and food service permit for Jim Min Chin, doing business as Ming's Garden, full-time liquor license and food service permit.
Motion,
Go ahead.
motion approved, sir. Second.
We have motion and second to approve the liquor license renewal and food service permit for Jim Min Chin, Ming's Gardens. Anything from the public? From the council?
I
All those,
would just say, there's a lot of new restaurants coming, or into town now, but it's funny, I've been hearing lately from people out of town, how much they enjoy things when they come through town. It's, kind of take it for granted.
yeah. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Next one is liquor license and food service permit for Susan Renier, doing business American Cruise Lines for a full-time liquor license. How would the council like to proceed?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the liquor license for American Cruise Lines. Anything further from the public? From the council?
The only question I have, maybe I'll forget to read that. It says expires on 7/12 this year. Or is that the present license and this is renewal? Okay. Thank you.
All set?
Sure.
Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. And I believe that that's just for them to serve on the ship, not just, but they have to have that whatever port they come into, right?
They get that from the state of Maine.
Yeah,
I don't issue
yeah.
anything.
That's what it was, the state.
Okay, item 13, discussion items not on the agenda for the council or the public. We'll open it up to the public first. Any discussion items? Any discussion items from the council? Okay. We'll go on to item 14, upcoming public hearing, designation of topic for committee assignments, and scheduling of committee meetings. We have a couple, don't we?
Finance needs to be scheduled to continue discussion of,
Next meeting?
Just clarification, that we changed the meeting, it's the fourth
that's correct,
Thursday regardless of.
second and fourth, yes.
Is that enough time for you, Sue, to get that information for the next meeting that we asked for?
Yep.
David? Mr. Key, sir?
Yes. Thank you.
Is the next meeting good for you?
Is that the only committee meeting we have scheduled?
I was trying to think of what else was regulatory review.
The
looking
second,
at.
we're going to have a second reading of the...
Yeah, but that's
That's
during
not-
the
not-
council,
yeah.
and everything got reported out of committee tonight
That we had, yeah.
that you had, so I don't,
It's just going to be the Finance Committee.
it would just be the finance committee.
This key next meeting?
Yeah,
Is that good for you?
Yep.
Okay.
So what time do you want to do that, 6 or 6:30?
6:30.
He's a boss.
See you that, Dave?
What?
You're the boss.
It's an illusion,
It's a little-
just like at home.
We're on TV, folks. Paula is watching.
So noted. Okay, we're going to go on to item 15.
Second?
We have a motion and a second for adjournment. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.